Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. E.D.G here, also known as Everyday Gamer. And if you have a moment, please show the channel a little love by hitting the like and subscribe button. And that will allow you to stay tuned with all the new tutorials and videos as we release them. And also let me connect with you and, can have a good time. All right, thanks, and on to the good stuff. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Everyday Gamer, and I'm glad you made it here, however you got here. If you've never been here before, the channel is just a way to connect to some of the students I teach and work with, and to people who just want to learn as well. So in that vein of thought, I guess you'll call it, I'm going to be doing a series, I guess, on Scratch, a series of Scratch tutorials, not on Scratch. Yeah. Anyway, so what I'll be doing is I'll be breaking down each of the sections. If you've never been to Scratch, it's scratch.mit.edu. This is really for my students who need a reference sometimes. Sometimes the pieces, aren't so clear cut, or they can't really understand how to use them. So this is a way for them to connect to reference, I guess you'll call it, when they're not in a session, or when they're just working on their own and trying to make some cool games, And that's what Scratch allows you to do. So to begin the series, I'm going to start with the motion section. So if this is something you're into, this isn't just for kids. Anyone can use this. Your parents can work alongside your kids and use it as well, as a way to get, because I know a lot of students work on their own when they're not, school per se, or whatever source they use. So here we go. All right, enough talking. Let's get to the motion section. We're doing this. This one is going to be the motion section. The motion section. Just say it one more time. Okay, I'm not going to say it one more time. All right. So we're on. I'm going to say it one more time. The motion blocks. That's what we're doing. All right. So the first motion block we have here. Let's highlight it. Let's make it look nice and noticeable. Let's give it a little attention. All right. This guy right here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, wait, if you don't know how to get to the motion section, it's the blue one. I mean, there's two blue ones, but this is the blue one. This is, I don't know, it's light blue. This is the blue one. All right, we'll call this one the little blue one. We're not there yet. Let's forget about that guy. Right now, we're on this guy. All right, so the move 10 steps block. Now, before we get into this block, let me go over the movement section and why you'd even end up in here in the first place. The motion blocks are essentially going to be all the blocks you use to control how your sprites change positions or angles while your game is in play mode. Now, I'm going to presume, I'm not going to presume. Here we go. This button here, ooh, this pretty one. That is the in play mode button, or the green button, or when the flag is clicked button, or essentially the start button. All right, that starts your game. So right now the game isn't running because I haven't clicked it. Cool. So we're talking about that now. So now that we know what that button is, right? Play mode, yes. So now that we know that, we're starting at the beginning with the move steps block, right? which will take effect when you click the green button. Okay, all right, I'm done with the green button. Forget the green button now. All right. So I like to think of this block in a very literal way whenever I describe it. When someone says, take a step, if I said to you, take a step, I'm telling you right now, take a step. Normally, you would move forward, right? Why this is important is because whenever you use the move steps block with a regular or positive non-negative number, that's what positive is, a non-negative number. If it's confusing, just it's a regular number. Maybe it's less confusing. So if you use the block, right, with a regular number in there, this guy, right? See how that's 10? Okay, I'm blocking it. So I'm gonna unblock it, but that's what I'm talking about. So don't forget, that's what you know what? I'm talking about that. Okay, good. See that action? Good. So that's the number I'm talking about, right? We all know what number I'm talking about now. So whenever you use a regular number in here, regular, never mind, I'm not gonna say it again. It will always move forward if you use a positive number, right? Because it's essentially simulating movement, how you move when you say somebody takes a step. Also known as the positive x-axis direction, or better said, towards the front of the sprite. Don't worry about that part if you've never learned about the X and Y axis stuff, okay? Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Just know that it moves to the front if you just use it as is with a positive number. So if we use a positive number and that moves us forward, meaning to the front of the sprite or wherever the sprite is facing, it moves in that direction. Guess what we'll use to move it in the opposite direction? A negative number. When we use it with another block that changes the direction of the front of the sprite, well, it changes direction of where the front of the sprite is pointing, these two blocks allow us to move all over the screen. Should I give an? I don't know. Should I give an example? I'll give an example. No, I'm not doing that. No, I didn't want to check mark. No check marks. Remove the check mark. Get rid of the check mark. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, we're not going to do that right now. You know what? We'll do it right now. Fine. Oh, we did another check mark. Forget about the check mark. So, as we spoke about this block, I'm just showing you, you don't have to do this. And you grab the move block, it moves forward. This is the direction it's facing, see? Hey. However, if we change the direction, let's say using one of these, you notice we're going to change the direction, right? Let's change that direction and then just move him. Notice he's moving still to the front of the sprite, not forward per se, because we changed where his forward is. All right, that's enough for that one. With that out of the way, right? Oh, look, we jumped ahead a little bit, and for showcase purposes. All right, so let's get rid of this guy. Let's talk about the turn degrees one. Okay, the turn degrees block. This block, we're talking about the turn degrees one, if that wasn't clear. And just to make it even more clear, that's Well, let's be a little more specific. These guys, these two. Yes, cool. All right. So the turn degrees block. This block allows your sprite to spin. No, that doesn't sound like spinning. I don't know why I did that. Forget that part. It allows your sprite to spin. Yes, exactly. Turning. Turn. Okay. It tells the sprite that whatever number you put inside and whichever of the two you used, meaning whichever one of these two, yes, whichever one of those two that you used, also known as the little, the icon that will tell you which one you're using, this thing here, yes. The little arrow indicates which way you want it to turn, right? Make sense? So based on that, you're going to turn the sprite to a new spot. You could use it with other blocks, of course, to create some really cool effects, like forever and repeat as examples. I'm guessing you want an example. Yeah. All right, I'll do a quick example. You know what? We're gonna have to stop these examples. I mean, this is just. I don't know. Whose idea was this? All right, we'll use this. Boom. We're like with the rubber. Okay, and we're gonna let's turn this in there. Ready, set, go. Whoa, spinning. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I made that noise. Okay. But don't worry about that. That's just an example. But you can play with it anytime you want. Other than right now, because right now we're going to be talking about the go-to blocks. You're not going to go to the. It's called the go. You know what? It's called the go-to blocks because it's called the go-to block. I'm going to show you. This can be. These words can sometimes, yes. Go to blocks. There they are. Okay, I'm blocking them. That was counterproductive. I'm gonna do it again. Why am I saying it like that? The go-to blocks. There you go. Okay, so that's what we're gonna talk about now. Forget about the turn blocks for now. We're on the go-to blocks. All right. Now, there are a couple of them. And don't make the mistake of thinking that they're the same and you can just pick anyone you want, because they are very different. And you'll find out how significantly different they are. So let's get to finding out. That makes more sense. I'm telling you're going to find out, right? Okay, so the first one. Let's go. I clearly like doing this circling thing, so I'm going to do it again. Boop. These noises. Who's making these noises? I have no idea. Okay, so the go-to random position block. Now, it's more unique to me. Why? Because it has a few more options than the other one. How, you may ask? Well, let's take a look at what it can do. I guess that means I'm going to show you. I thought I was going to be showing these things. So I really got to ask whose idea this was. Okay, so let's show you what it does. All right. Go to random position. The go to random position has a darker blue section over the words. Random position. Do you see it? I see it. And because I see it, I gotta show you. Because it's it's an opportunity to circle. The go to random position section has a darker section over the words random position. But before we get into that, let's talk about the random position instruction. When we use this piece, we're telling the sprite, hello, Mr. Sprite, yoo-hoo. We're telling him or her or it, the sprite thing. I want you to pick a spot. Ooh, look at all these spots everywhere. There's spots everywhere. So many spots. Okay, there's so many spots. I'm not. Pick a spot, any spot, also known as an XY coordinate. Who said that? I said that. And without telling me exactly, I'm talking to the sprite. Remember, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to the sprite. This guy. Yes, him. I'm telling him. He's telling me. Well, he's talking to me, and I'm telling him. He's a Mister this time. This guy's a Mister, right? I'm telling Mr. Sprite Man that he should pick a spot, any spot, and wherever he picks, I don't want to know where it is. But after I've used this, when I use this guy, I told him to pick any spot, and I want him to go there without telling me. All right? So let's get rid of all these awesome circles that are very distracting. And we're going to go and click this thing called the random go to random position, and let's see what happens. What? Oh! He's gonna go right here. Let's see this. Okay, no. Yeah, how about here? No. Okay, nope. Yeah. He's not listening to where he's got a mind of his own. Okay. All right, Mr. Sprite Man. We got it. You can go wherever you want to go on the stage. Very cool. Okay? So basically what's happening is I can use just one block and already the sprite has a mind of its own. Amazing. But wait, there's more. Remember the darkened blue section? Ooh, circle opportunity. I'm gonna be circle. I'm gonna circle. I get a chance to circle. You know, it's just part of it's what do I like circling. It's just fun to circle. Right? Okay, so yes, you remember this section here? We talked about years so long ago. It was like ages ago, right? Okay, so it has, you know, we're gonna talk about that now, okay? In more detail. So when you go over the words, okay? Like I'm going over the words now, right? Oh, this is me going over the words. That's what I mean. I'm on top of the words, random position, right? You'll notice there's a little downward pointing arrow. Hi, Mr. Arrow Man, you're pointing down. I'm talking about that guy. That arrow will give us more options. As if one cool thing wasn't enough, right? The other options will be to tell the sprite to go to the mouse pointer and let's have some fun. If there are any other sprites, now there's two Mr. Sprite Mans, it'll tell us that it can go to the other sprite as well, which in its own, we're not gonna, okay. Now to avoid any confusion, this block is giving an instant instruction. So if we use it, we are not saying, you know, hey, Mr. Sprite Man, can you just slowly walk over to the other sprite I have over there? What we're saying is, hey, Mr. Sprite Man, you get over to that other sprite right now. You hear me? Sorry, I got a little carried away. Okay, but yes. So in order to have it not happen in the blink of an eye, so let's show you the blink of an eye. Don't blink. I'm not telling you to blink. I'm telling you that it's going to happen in the blink of an eye. That means, so don't blink. Watch, don't blink. Ready, steady, go. They both move. That was very confusing. That was very confusing because I told one to go to a random position. Goodbye, Mr. Random Position. I'll do it again because that was very confusing. And we're going to move one of them. Okay, cool. So this guy, this one here, is going to move instantly to the other sprite once we click this green button. So they're both going to be in the section here. Okay, ready, steady, go. Whoa, there's two of them there. See? Woo! You didn't know, did you? I mean, you did know. I told you it was gonna happen. Never mind. Okay, so that's where they are. Okay, that's what that means, and it happens in an instant, right? That's essentially what we told it to do. So if we don't want it to happen in the blink of an eye, then we have to use a completely different block. But before we talk about that block, let's talk about the other go-to block, the go-to X and Y block. Oh, circle opportunity. Circle opportunity. Circle opportunity. Okay, so let's, I'm going to circle, right? I made that clear. The other go-to block, this guy. Woo! Yes, go-to X and Y, okay? So now, do you remember, did you, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes ago, I mentioned something about coordinates and X and Y axis, and how you're not gonna need to know any of that. Well, that's almost completely, absolutely, positively, kinda not true. You see, the world of Scratch is working on what's called an XY plane or grid. What that means is there are numbers, lots of them. Yes? And I dare you to try to count. Yes. How would you count? I just said you didn't need to know anything about it. That doesn't make any sense. How would I tell them to count? I'm telling them to count. But I already told them not to. Forget that I said to count. We're gonna leave it there. Don't count. No counting. But these are these numbers. Ooh, look. Ooh, circle opportunity. They're right here. Look at them. Ooh-wee. So there's at least. I'm not gonna confuse you. A lot of numbers. So these are the X and Y numbers. X and Y coordinate numbers. Okay. There are a lot of them. And numbers that we call the x-axis, or on the x line, yes, are on the line we can draw, and it runs from left. Ooh, new lines. They are on the lines that go from left to right. See that? See that? Cool, right? So these are X coordinates, or X and Y axis numbers. And they'll be every number in between. Well, not really in between. Yeah, in between these two arrows, which these arrows go forever. Let's forget about that part. More importantly, the numbers on the X line, right? They can be both positive and negative based on something else. Okay, so we use these numbers to help us get specific but wait, you know what? Before we do that, let's talk about the Y ones, since they're here too. The Y ones go up and down. Look at that. Okay, you know what? My drawing is insignificantly less impressive. So I'll do us all a favor. And I will just do this. I'll add a backdrop. And guess what? There's one like it in Scratch. Ooh boy. Look at this. X and Y numbers. Very cool. All right. So that's what I'm talking about, essentially, in a nutshell. Right? So the X goes left to right, the Y goes up and down. Okay? See, now we use these numbers, okay, to get specific spots on what's known as the grid that we talked about just a minute ago, where I said, you know, Scratch works on a grid system, plane system, right? That guy. That's what I'm talking about. So we use these numbers to get specific spots on the grid, right? So, you know, you see, that wasn't that much that you needed to know. And hey, if you didn't know, now you know. Okay. Why you needed any of this is because to use the go to X and Y piece, let's get back to the sprites. Hi, Mr. Sprite Man. This piece here, to use this piece, yes. Using this piece allows us to tell the sprite exactly where on the grid or the play area we want it to go, and it also allows us to a lot more control later on when we master the other blocks you can use inside of it. I'm not going to expand, but I am going to circle. I mean, I'm not going to explain, but I am going to circle. Okay? So when I say inside, master what we use inside, we can put things inside of here. Ooh. Okay? Good to know. All right, moving on. Glide blocks. Now I'm circling because I enjoy circling, but other than that, we're talking about both of these blocks, but we're not going to talk about them both at the same time. That would be very cool. But I don't have that skill because they have things that are different about them. So we're just going to talk about this one first. The glide 1 seconds 2 block, right? So moving on, this block, similar to the go-to blocks, right, have the same options. You notice options, these are the options, these are the options, right? There's the same as the above ones. Yes, we agree. So the glide to X and Y works similar to the go-to X and Y block, and also a glide to random position or to the mouse pointer or to any of the sprites you've added. They work the same. Now would there be a point at all for these blocks if they didn't do something different? I mean, come on now. It's so obvious these blocks are hiding something from us. Okay, fine. I'll tell you. The glide blocks are very funny blocks. You see, they will go to the spot you tell it, just like the go-to block, except the number you put inside the section with that is in front of the seconds too. It says SECS2. It refers to seconds too, right? How many seconds to do what you're gonna do, right? So if any number you put in there tells the sprite, hey, taxi, I want to go there, but I'm not in a rush, so take your time and add it to my tab. Thanks. Let me show you. Let me show you. It's a little fine. I'm going to show you. I'll show you what I'm going to show you this one. So we're going to say glide to random position, right? And hey, this whole guy is the taxi. Woo, Mr. Taxi Man. Good. Okay. He is being instructed by the sprite 1, to go to this position here, this destination, And we're telling him, hey, whatever number we put in here, this is how short, long, or long we want it to go. So let's say we tell him we're in a rush. We want to get to work and we want to get to random position in 1 second. All right. So let's see how long it takes to get to the random position. He picked random position. He went there in 1 second. That's how long that took. All right. Super fast. But what if we want to get there in 9 seconds? We're not in a rush. We want to view the sights. We want to, observe the clouds and take in some of the air. Okay, whatever the plan is. We tell it, let's not go there so fast. Let's see what happens. It's going to pick a random position, and it's going to go there after 9 seconds of moving. There on its own, gliding specifically in the way of motion. Yes? See that? Much different time frame. Okay? So, that being said, right, there's one huge, important, very super important detail that makes this piece a very tricky piece to use. That is, the glide block will not stop and will not listen to anything you have to say until it gets to its destination. So imagine, right? You're in a taxi. Woo, 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 woo. Taxis do not make that noise. I don't know what that noise was. So imagine you're in a taxi headed to the movies. And you see your best friend walking, right? Your friend is walking. Let's say he's going to the movies too. She's going to the movies too, right? You see a couple of your friends. How about that? And you say, hey, Mr. Taxi Man, can you just wait right here? I'm going to go talk to my friends really quick and tell them, I'll meet them at the movie theaters. That's where we're going. And then I'm going to come back and then we're going to keep going to the movies. Okay, this might have not been the best analogy, but we're going to keep going with it. He will say, no, not a chance. If he's a glide block, which in this case, our taxi is a glide block. Yes, we established that. So if this is Mr. Taxi Man and you say, hey, I want to do something, what would you want to do? Well, let's say, you have a situation happening here and you wanted to check if something is happening. If it hits something, let's say if it hits something, yes? If touching Sprite 1, yeah? Then we want to make a funny sound, right? Okay, cool. It's not going to listen to this part over here, any of this, until it's finished getting to the end of this spot. It's found its spot, and it's not going to say anything until it gets there, right? I mean, this is going to be a little, don't worry about the example. Never mind the example. More importantly, okay, so we're just gonna stop it. It's doing its own thing right now. More importantly, it's not going to do any of this stuff underneath this until it's done doing this. Okay, that was all of that explanation was just to say that. Please forgive me. I'm sure you can skip ahead past the rest. I'm not going to say taxi again. All right. So make sure you never use either one of them, okay, to move as motion blocks for yourself. If you have to check for something in between where you start gliding and you stop gliding. There are other ways to get motion to happen over a period of time though. So don't worry. All right. We're moving on to block number 5, also known as the point and direction block. The point and direction block is a pretty simple block. if you look on your dash, we'll call this the dash. Yes. Hi, dash. That's you right there. Okay. If you look on it, you're going to, you'll notice there's a spot labeled direction. Ooh, circle opportunity. Yes? Good. Well, this block will directly affect the direction. You see what I did there? Hmm? Why would you want to change your direction though? Well, I mean, unless you like crashing into walls or only moving left and right. The move steps block will allow you to, what am I to, no. Unless you like crashing into walls or moving left to right, then you would love to change direction. Let's just say that. And remember that the block we mentioned before, the move steps block, using those two together will allow the sprite to move any way or direction we pointed it. Okay? That's great, right? It sounds like the perfect combo for a racing game. Or a crashing game. I mean, I guess it depends on who's driving. Yeah. Okay, well, don't be mistaken, my good people, into thinking, however, that this is the same thing, right, as what the point towards block does. Oh, no. Okay, wait, guess what? It's a circle opportunity. This guy is who we're talking about now. Here we go again with the funny blue dark area. Look at that. He just keeps popping up. Right? I mean, really, who wants more than one choices? Well, one is in the choice. So two, I mean, but never mind. Who likes choices? Everyone. Sometimes. Maybe. Oh, okay. So yes, more choices. Just like with the other darker blue ones, this block allows us to click that area and then change from the mouse pointer to another sprite already in our game. Okay, so we click. No, I click, and it gives us an option. Yes, amazing. Now, the block itself, though, whichever one we choose between mouse pointer and sprite, right, will tell the sprite not to move. It won't be moving. See, look. See, it's not moving. What is that? What are these noises? It's not moving. It's pointing towards it, but it's not moving. Look at that. Yeah? Okay. All right. So it will tell the sprite not to move, but to aim like a point of an arrow or a pointy arrow towards whichever one of those we've chosen. So if I say point towards the mouse pointer and I move the mouse pointer, then wherever my mouse pointer is, when I click the green flag, is where it'll point to. Whoop. Oh, well, actually, my mouse pointer is going to generally always be over here, so this is hard, which is why I shouldn't have chose mouse pointer, but that's the point. If I choose sprite 2 and I move it over there, then this is not the right one. It's very confusing because I told one to go to and one not to point to. So don't get confused. Forgive the confusion. It's just pointing. See? There we go. Okay? I really shouldn't make them twins. That's very confusing. I'm confused and I made it. All right. But to get it to move now, right? it's just gonna, okay, forget the movement. So similar to the point and direction block, the front of the sprite will be told to look over yonder to where the sprite is, or the mouse pointer, and it will just stare and stare and stare at it, unless we do what we did a few seconds ago and throw on, let's say, a move steps block, right? After we tell it to stare. Point towards it and then move 10 steps. See? Ooh, he's getting closer. You seeing the trend yet? Okay. All right. Okay. Now focus with me. And take a deep breath, because we're back to that stuff you needed to know nothing about, but now you know something about it, and so it's okay for me to tell you more about it, because you already know that, and I won't be telling you stuff that you never heard, because I just explained what it is to you. Okay, that's what the deep breath was for. Thank you. Okay, so change X block. Okay, so if it wasn't clear by now, I'm going to circle. Yes? Okay. Boop. What in the world are these noises? Change X by block. What in the world would we need a change X by block for? I mean, based on what I said before, doesn't it just do the same thing as move steps? You wish it was that simple, but it's not. This block is actually amazing. You know why? Because that's what it told me to say about it. But even if it didn't tell me that, it does some pretty cool stuff. So let's clarify. It does act just like the move steps block in some ways. It can get us from the right to the left. However, this is me showing you right to left, but it's actually, I just showed you left to right. So I'm going to show you right to left, and we're going to forget that I just did what I did. So this is the right, and we're going right to left. You can also go left to right. Okay. However, because we are able to tell it specifically to move on the x-axis, yes, also known as the X line, this line will not, like our previous direction change blocks, move in the direction it's facing. It will only move along the X line or axis. There is another added bonus. Now, if that wasn't clear as to what I just explained, let me show you. Okay, so if I put this on here and I say, hey, move steps, guess what's gonna happen? Oh, it's moving forward because it's facing that way. That's crazy, but that's not what I want. I want it to stay where it is, facing, but I want it to go in a different direction while facing that way. And what happens if I use the change X block? It does just that. Look, it's still facing that way, but it's still moving forward on the X line. Okay? So that's what I just explained without showing you, and then I showed you, and now you see it, and hopefully we are on the same page. Now, there's an added bonus, as I mentioned before. When we use this block with repeats or forevers, or a forever, we are able to imitate the glide motion, getting our sprite from one place to another little by little. So, of course, I'm going to show you. We'll do it 10 times. We'll use a repeat block this time. Repeat, yes? So let's start them here, and let's repeat. Whoa, that looks just like gliding. It is gliding, but okay. Except now, wait, but we're not done. So just like the glide block, right? Except getting our sprite from one place to another. And even more importantly, we can also tell stuff, add some more stuff, and also known as instructions, in between there, and it will listen to it as it's moving, unlike the glide button, right? So if I said repeat, and then I said say hello, 2 seconds, it's gonna do that. It's gonna listen to the one below it. Crazy. However, why don't we glide? Why don't we just glide? Glide. Yeah, just glide there. Glide. What is this position? Glide to 240x. Yeah, just glide there, mister. How about you just glide there? Right? Now you're gliding there. Hold up. Stop it. Get back over here. But now we're going to put the looks. Say hello here. Notice it doesn't say it until it's finished. You see how that works? Okay. However, the other one, on the way there, it can listen because we're interrupting the instruction with other things. Okay, but more importantly, makes it a really cool block. Yes? Okay? Huge difference. However, there's also a huge difference between it. Oh! No! Sorry, that was extremely loud. I didn't mean to stop sharing. I'll probably edit that out. Yes, sorry about the interruption. I clicked a very unnecessary button. Okay, so as we were saying, there's a huge difference, however, between the why is Glide in here? We're not talking to you, Glide. You're not the one we're dealing with right now. Can you please leave? So we have the change, yes? But we're done with change, so we were just doing that for the show, yes? We're actually talking now about the set to block, yeah? Because that is very different. Very different. And it's such a huge difference that I took the opportunity to circle, but what I really need to do is replace it. So I'm going to replace it with this guy. Whoop. That's the sound of replacing, if no one, that's the replacement sound. Okay, so we're going to set it to, let's say x0. Yes? Okay, no, why did I change that? No. Okay, fine, we're gonna leave it where it is. But we told it to set x to 134, yes? And similarly, yeah, if we had used change x by, well, we would have gotten to there little by little. Well, no, it's completely different. Because if we used, it's completely different. If you changed by 134, it's just gonna jump one step immediately 134. If you use set x to 134, it's going to look for the x coordinate or the x spot or plane, point, etc., which is exactly at 134. And no matter how many times you do it, it's going to keep going there. See? I told it to do it 10 times. And it's doing it 10 times, but it's done doing it. But it didn't move any more than just going there. So if it starts there, guess what? It's not going to move at all. This is it starting there, if that wasn't clear. See? It's not moving. Okay? So the huge difference between change x by and set x2 blocks are the set x2 block will repeatedly reset to the number or value, circle time, the number or value located inside, right? What that means is if you change x by, if you use the change x by block, and this is getting very tonguey, but if you use the change x by block and put 10 in there, the block will only move 10 steps or 10 axis points or 10 points on the X line away from where it is. If you, however, use the set X to 10 blocks, so let's keep it flowing. Let's make it simple. Instead of putting 134 in there, let's put 10 in there, yes? Okay, if we put 10 in there, similarly like we did with the other block, and we repeat that, it's just going to go to X equals 10, as you can see right here. All right? And it will do that over and over again. All right? Don't think of it as any less important, though. It's just as important still. It is very, very useful, especially for the set X piece, value piece, is just as important, if not more important. Forget the more important. It's just as important, right? Because you can use it at the beginning of the game, right? And also, you know, when you need to set things straight when they get out of line, which brings us to a little repetition about what those same pieces do for the Y values, or the Y-axis numbers, right? So we're on to the change. Ooh, change Y by block. And you know what? Since I like circling, and because it's circle time, I'm gonna circle both, because we're covering both, but we're covering one first. Never mind, we've been through this. The change Y blocks does the same thing that the change X block does. You know, I'm gonna circle it. I'm just gonna circle it. Oh, that was satisfying. Okay. Except, obviously, well, not obviously, but not in the same direction, right? So you see the Y up here. Woo, Mr. Y. Hi, Mrs. X. Okay, right? So they're in different places because they're on different lines. They run at different axes. Okay. And so the Y numbers will change based on this change Y block. All right? All right? Good. So, as we mentioned, the Y-axis, or Y number line, goes up and down, or down and up. Potatoes, as they say, yes? So, when you use this block, we intend on telling our sprite, whichever one we're telling it to, which is indicated up here, which one we're talking about, even though they're the same. It's also indicated here which one we're controlling. Yes? Okay, good. I'm just circling because I'm circling. Okay, let's get rid of the circles. So we're telling our sprite we want it to move up and down, or down and up. Potato. Never mind. Instead of moving right to left, or left to right. Okay, I'm not going to say it again. Think of a raindrop falling, right? As changing your Y value. So the rain drops from the sky onto your head, or your shoes, or just outside. Period. Okay. And think of, changing in X, the river running. Yes, it's a flowing river. It moves. The river moves from left. Forget it moves. The river moves. Yes, in that way. I'm not going to say it because I said I wasn't going to say it. So think of a river for change in X. Think of a raindrop or snowfall or snowy snowflake as change in Y. Okay? The snowflakes don't go up though. We're just gonna leave it at that. Okay? Cool. So get it. Y-axis air goes up, so we could say air. And think of, okay, forget it. You got it. All right. So we're on to the set X block. All right. Set Y. Nobody caught that? You were gonna let me say set X when we did that already? Unbelievable. All right. So we're on to set Y. Yes. And obviously, did I mention about the Y blocks doing the same thing as the X, but in a different direction? Well, yes, same thing again with this one. So as I said before, if you want to go to a okay, if you want to go to a specific spot on the Y-axis or Y line, yes, then you could use this block to tell your sprite to go to that spot over and over for a certain reason. Whatever reason you may have, it's up to you. It's your game. You figure it out. You could tell it to do that. Yes? Okay. Moving on. And I'm going to get rid of my circle because I'm going to draw a new circle, which you knew that by now. Yes? You knew that was coming because it's circle time. There you go. If on edge bounce block. If on edge bounce. I'm not enjoying the sight of this backdrop, so I'm going to change it. Why am I going to change it? Because I just said I don't want to see it. What am I going to see instead? Blue sky. Hi, blue sky. Blue sky works. All right. So now that we're on blue sky and we're talking about if on edge bounce, I wonder if Humpty Dumpty knew about this block. I'm sure he would have appreciated it, because what this block does is if you get to the edge, or also known as the sides of the game screen, yes, any of the four, depending on which setting you use, then your pretty little sprite, I missed a pretty little sprite, will turn back and essentially bounce away from the edge. No cracking and no King's Horseman. Nothing needed, just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. Poor Humpty. Which leads us to another unique block. The set rotation style. Left, right, but wow, that's a lot of words. Is that the block with the most words? I'm gonna say yes. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5, yeah. I mean, okay, fine. It's one of the most wordy blocks, but it's the wordiest to say. Hey, Mr. Circle, get back in your place. Let's fix that. We're talking about you right there. Yes, perfect. Yes. Okay. This block could be the weirdest block of all, folks. Okay, not really, but but really it could. Okay, but not really, because I'm going to tell you what it does right now anyway. So, when we use this block, when we use the block that we spoke about before this, the if on edge bounce, this guy, yes. What will happen is the sprite will hit the edge. Okay, let's do this. Yes. It will hit the edge. The sprite will hit the edge. Okay. And if we do not attach this block as well, yes. Where's this block? Right here. If we don't attach this as well, then what's going to happen is by default, it'll flip itself in the opposite direction and move away from the edge, or continue following the instruction we gave it, right? So let's test it out. I don't think we need both of you guys. So one of you will leave. Yes? Okay, cool. So let's do if on edge bounce. I didn't tell it to move. How's it gonna bounce? Tell me, folks. How's it gonna bounce if we don't tell it to move? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You notice? You notice what's happening? It's turning around. It's flipping its direction. Now, like I said before, we have it so that we have it going left to right, which is also the default, yes? So let's do it. Let's put it in there and see what happens. If on edge bounce, let's set rotation left to right. So let's stop it. Let's make sure it's working. Left to right, yeah? Very cool. Yes? Right. Awesome. But what happens if we change this? Yes? If we choose if we use this block, depending on if we choose left or right, or don't rotate, or all around, the sprite will bounce in the selected way. Okay? So let's do don't rotate. What do you think is gonna happen? Stop it and play it. You notice the difference? Huh? He's not spinning around. He's still bouncing, but he's not spinning around like he was. You know what I mean? He's just you can see it. It's right there. Okay, but if we choose all around, what's the difference? You notice? Doing it again. Yeah, as long as it hits an edge, it's gonna choose. And if we choose left to right, and we stop and play, notice the sprite isn't switching. It's just going left to right when it hits the left or right side. You see that? It stays the same from the top, but when it hits the left or the right, it flips direction. All right? So if we choose, okay, so you see it. It's right there. Okay? Cool. And now we come to the final three pieces. I know you've been here a while. You can, I promise it was worth the work. I mean, the wait. It was worth it. There was so many circles. How could you not find it worth it for all the circling we did? I know you enjoy the circling too. Come on. Let's be realistic now. Okay? So we're on to the final three blocks for this section. The motion section, as we mentioned. Whew. Who thought you'd have ever gotten here? I mean, you've grown so much, my friends. I remember when you were teeny tiny little scratch bit. Okay, sorry. So the last three blocks, which, funnily enough, aren't actually blocks at all, which is why we're grouping them up as one thing we're talking about at once. The X position, we're gonna call them, okay, insert, Y position insert, or direction insert. We call these rounded cylindric things, ooh, not circles, but it's circle time. It's circle time. Wait, what? There's a circle there already. Get out of here. I don't want that circle. I want to make a new circle. Because we are talking about these three young whippersnappers. Yes? Okay, so it's circle time. Let's get some circling happening. I'm gonna circle. I'm gonna do a natural circle. Woo! Oh, that was pretty good. Come on. I mean, okay, it was pretty good. All right, so we're talking about those three, and we're gonna call them inserts because, so basically, right? I mean, we insert them. That's why we're calling them inserts. It's the perfect name. Yes. Okay. All right. So basically, when you see a rounded block like this one, or like this one, or like this one, the pieces are able to be slotted into the blocks where we have options to place a number or other info in. An example would be placing X position insert into the Y set Y block to Y. Okay. An example would be placing the X position insert into the set Y2 block. We will get the same numbers in both the X value and the Y value of our coordinate, or the point where our X and Y meet. Worth noting is that any of the pieces that have a dark blue option, speaking only about, we're only talking about motion still, so you can venture out on your own, but for now we're just talking about motion still. These insert blocks can also be placed inside of them at the user's discretion, of course. It's discretion, it's a big word that means choice. However, be advised, I am not accountable for the results of such actions. Okay? So I'll show you what it means when I say that. So, for example, we have a spot here. Ooh, look at that. There's an empty spot here. Guess what can go in there? This can go in there. Or this can go in there. Or this can go in there. As we mentioned, they are inserts. They can be inserted in. So if my direction is 49 and I put it in the move steps block, I'm going to be moving 49 steps because that's what I told it to do. You get that, how that works? Crazy, right? I took off on edge bounce, so it's not bouncing. Okay? But that's what this is about, okay? All right, so that being the case, all right, but you got to be careful, like I said. You see how that one didn't work? It's because the direction is negative 139. So I needed it to move negative 139. Okay, never mind. More importantly, 131. All right, I'm not blind. I know. All right, never mind. Like I said, never mind. Okay, so you can use inserts in any block that has that option where there's a space here. The numbers correspond. However, not to be left out, you can use it in any one of these as well. Yeah? So I can have it go to X position, which is a very weird thing that it's not weird. It's not weird at all. Right? Very cool, yes? Or I could have it here. And if my X position is 272, I can also say, hey, go here too. My Y, make my Y my X position. And it'll go wherever it is, wherever that is, which is 272. Except the Y positions don't have a 272, so it goes to 270. I mean, it goes to 215, which you can see. The max it has is 2. Okay. Let's say 10. Make our X position 10. Take note of the numbers here, you see? They go to the same place. So that's how that works. All right? So that concludes our tutorial on the motion section of Scratch. I know you think you're an expert now. After all, I did teach you myself. But nothing is better than practice makes perfect in this case. In most cases, but definitely in this case. So log into your account and get to scratching. Try out all the pieces as we do more tutorials together. You'll get more and more things to add to your list of tools to create with. So till next time, scratch you later.